Okay, well, so welcome everybody to Midweek Mindfulness. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you today. Um, uh, it's interesting as the time continues on that we find ourselves distanced from each other. I have a lot more people who've been reaching out talking about how really challenging this can be. Um, some of the introverts are like, yay, finally, and then a lot of the extroverts are just really overwhelmed with not having the connection to the people around them. And kind of everybody, I think, who's just used to having that interaction and that engagement with the other human beings. And I think there's a deep biological need there as well, So in mindfulness and meditation, what we practice is learning to pay attention to ourselves and to our environment at the same time in a non-judgmental way. So how that can help with this is we take time to really sit and allow ourselves to quiet down physically, right? So we quiet down our sensory input. Um, we have a pretty blue background, right? Something nice, something calming. I'm going to play a little bit of music here in a while that also has that kind of nice relaxation to it. Um, we find a quiet spot in our home, right? So that we're dampening the amount of background noise that we have. And of course, most people tend to close their eyes or maybe pick a spot where there's not a whole lot happening in front of them, if that's more comfortable. And just letting your vision go soft so we can really start to refocus ourselves inwardly. Um, and as we do that, the voices in our head, the feelings that we're experiencing get louder and stronger. So, if at any point, at any time during this time, you really feel, a little overwhelmed or your feelings or your thoughts just to be too strong, um, what I suggest is to really just kind of open your senses back up and reground in your environment. So feel your body touching the chair, the cushion, the couch, the floor. Open your eyes, connect with what's familiar around you. Uh, you know, uh, Reconnect with your sensory experience to once again kind of bring a balance to those two different voices. But as we're going along, if you're able and you're comfortable, as the thoughts and the feelings come up, this isn't about quieting the mind or eliminating emotions. That's not what meditation and mindfulness are for. They're actually the opposite of that in time, and that is to engage with them more deeply, but with a space, right? So very often what happens is we experience something and our mind responds, and then our emotions kick on, and there's no space for us to manage what's happening. So we become reactive in that moment. And everyone's had that experience, right? We've all had the experience of just reacting, just reacting to whatever's happening around us. And that um, can be a very difficult way to be, right? It can be really hard to live your life in a reactive way, where when we meditate, we're practicing two things. One is coming back to our point of awareness, which we tend to use our breath as our point of awareness. Sometimes we use our body as our point of awareness. But what we're doing is we're noticing what thoughts we have, and then we're taking note of them because they're important, and we're returning to our breath, turning to our breath, returning to our breath. And what that does is it builds the muscle of mindfulness, right? It builds our awareness muscle so that we can focus on that which we really want to focus on. And then over time, kind of once we have that established and we've kind of built those muscles up a little bit, then we hold, right, that awareness, and we watch to see what comes through. And as we're watching to see what comes through, we approach it non-judgmentally. So how do you do that? How does that work? The simplest thing for me to say is that we practice looking to see simply what's there. And then as the emotions come up around that, which are generally stemmed from judgment, right, which is a way of thinking about it, then we just include the emotion in the awareness as well. and then we watch to see what happens. Right? And over time and with practice, what happens is that creates this space so that we can be not in any way disconnected from who we are, what we're feeling, or what we're thinking, but that there's this larger aspect of us, right? Our observing mind, not just our thinking mind, but our observing mind is now able to hold all of these things together at the same time and allow us to be the way that we would choose to be in that moment, right? We all have that moment of regret where we're like, oh, I really should have been more mindful in that moment, right? So this is a great opportunity to start to manage that. But in the beginning, we're going to breathe. We're going to focus on our breath. We're going to watch our thoughts come. We're going to take note of them because they are important. And then we're going to return to our breath, return to our body, return to our breathing. And then at the end, we'll play just a little bit with observing our thoughts, right? Observing our feelings and what's going on there. So if everybody's ready, we will go ahead and get started. I like to start with a gentle bell. But go ahead and get into your comfortable position, whether you're sitting on a pillow, if you're sitting on a chair, a couch, a sofa, whatever that happens to be. If you're not comfortable sitting up, find a comfortable place to really lay down or to recline, right? It's most important that you are physically able to relax and still be able to really focus and concentrate at the same time, right? We want to combine those two aspects of our way of being in order to, really be able to create the sense of self that we're seeking to create. So settle into your position. If you are sitting up, see if you can sit up straight where your head is balanced on your spine so that your body is in balance. If you rest your hands on your knees or your lap, right, to create that nice balance across your body so you're not leaning in any particular direction at all, just sitting up nice and straight. Maybe feet on the floor, or if you're sitting with your feet cross-legged, that's wonderful. But just so that your body is in balance. And if you're lying back or reclining in any way, just in a way that allows you to be able to relax your body. And so you're not straining in any way. And then we're going to go ahead and start by taking a few nice deep breaths in through your nose. And what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in nice and deeply, and then we're going to hold that breath right at the top. So we're going to go ahead and start. So if you can't breathe through your nose and you need to breathe through your mouth, that's fine too. But if you can, go ahead and draw some air in nice and slowly until your lungs are full. Pause at the top and then really slowly start to breathe out again. Managing your breath, controlling your breath on the way out until your lungs are empty. And then again, slowly back in through the nose. Breathing down into the abdomen, pausing, and then. And as you're stretching out that exhale, I want you to really just begin to notice what's happening in your body. Not manipulating anything, just observing, what's happening in my body as I do these nice, long, slow exhales, right? What do you notice? And just keep breathing. Just a couple more of these long, slow exhales. And then maybe just ever so gently as you're breathing in, let it get a little more shallow with each of your breaths. So your in breath is a little softer. Your out breath is a little softer. Continuing to notice how your body feels until your body just takes over the breathing. Just feeling it. noticing what's happening there. Noticing the sensation of your breath. So often we take our breath completely for granted, which isn't a bad thing in any way. No judgment here. But maybe just appreciate the sensation of your breath. Looking to where you notice it the most easily in your body. Is it the tip of your nose with the warmth on the long, slow exhale? Or maybe it's the coolness of the in-breath. Do you feel it in the back of your throat? Or maybe it's the expansion of your lungs, or the rise of your tummy as your diaphragm expands, and then the relaxation as it deflates. Just bringing your awareness to this process of breathing. And as we breathe on each exhale, I want you to notice how your body feels. Not moving any muscles, not touching any particular part of your body, just bringing your awareness, whether it's the top of your head, those little muscles around your eyes. Maybe it's your jaw or your neck, shoulders. What happens as you breathe out? What do you notice that your body does as you exhale? Taking these moments to feel the connection between the breath and the body. And of course, when your mind is drawn away by noises in your environment or thoughts that pass through your mind, recognize that that's perfectly normal. That's the way brains and minds function, right? That's their purpose, their job. Take note of whatever it is that distracted you or pulled your attention away from your breath. And then gently just come on back. Come back to the breath. Back to the sensation of the breath moving in and out of your lungs. So no matter how many times your mind wanders away or remembers something that's critical, that's okay. It's okay. Take note of it without any judgment. Just letting it be what the mind does, because that's its job. And come back to your awareness, right? You're observing. Just notice your breathing. Notice your breath. Notice the sensations of the breath in the body. And if breathing and noticing your breath for any reason were to stimulate or activate something challenging for you, something difficult, try just shifting your awareness to maybe the contact that your body has with the chair or the floor. If it's comfortable, just go ahead and stay with your breath. Just notice what happens as you breathe in and you breathe out. See if you can feel the breath in its entirety, beginning to notice the first moment it starts to cool the nostrils on the in-breath. Staying with the in-breath until you feel your lungs expand to the point where they're full. Feel the breath turn the corner and then slowly become the out-breath. Noticing the relaxation that flows through you on the out-breath. Feel the air exiting the nostrils nice and warm this time. And then once all the air has been expelled, noticing the turn again as it becomes an in-breath. See if you can just sail along on this little stream of breathing, noticing your body and staying with your breath. Now, if you begin to notice that there's a persistent thought or a persistent action that your thinking is trying to accomplish, or maybe you just keep being drawn away, that's okay. Once again, no judgment here. I want you to just apply a nice label to that particular activity, right? We think of thoughts running through the mind as simply thinking. So as a thought arises, right, just label it thinking. Again, especially if it's persistent and you've already heard from that thought before. If you haven't, well, take note of it. We want you to recognize its value. And then, again, label it thinking and return back to the breath. just observing our breath, not controlling it, just noticing in conjunction with how it feels in our body. And if it feels impossible to not control it, then don't, let yourself control it and just notice that. And now that we've been sitting here for a little while, let's take notice of our bodies again. Is there a place in your body where you're holding tension? Or let's become uncomfortable. Or maybe you have an itch. All perfectly normal things that have happened. If you're truly uncomfortable, simply adjust. No need to force yourself to be in an uncomfortable position. If you have an itch or you're slightly uncomfortable, see if you can stay with that just for a few moments, noticing it, feeling that discomfort, not judging it as good or bad or right or wrong, just seeing that this is what's in the field of your awareness at this moment. See if you notice how it changes once the judgment is gone. And no matter what you feel, just take a look down through your body and notice how it feels in this moment. Does it feel relaxed? Is there tension? Are you comfortable or uncomfortable? Are there places that are falling a little asleep? Have gone a little numb? Are you perfectly content? Is there tingling? Do you notice any warmth or coolness? Again, just looking to see what's here and holding that sensation along with the awareness of our breathing together in your awareness. Just feeling them both at the same time. Now I want you to take a nice full deep breath in through your nose and hold it at the top. Nice, long, slow exhale out. Begin to return to your body, return to your space. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Maybe do a nice stretch. And when you're ready, just opening your eyes. Mm. Mm. So thank you everyone for coming today. It's always a true blessing to see everyone. And I'll turn everything over back to Anne now.